Oh,
Oh, you found, this is mine? Thanks.
Yeah. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Hi there.
So if you please join with me. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I move to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Are we recording?
Yes.
Good. So this is a special meeting for the Board of Selectmen. Right, is this a special meeting?
Yes. Special.
Why does it say this?
If you look in the June 2nd.
Okay. Audience citizen. Seeing none. Yes? Please state your name for me.
I don't know all the figures. I haven't had time to really go through them. But I've lived in Columbia for probably 40 years, 35. And coming back this summer from Florida, I was amazed at what I consider poor condition of our roads. There's holes, there's patches, there's every kind of place you drive, you find it. So I hope when the selectmen have to make some cuts, that they don't cut out repairing and improving the road. I know when Peter Peak was here, everybody claimed the only thing he focused on was road. So they were in excellent shape. When we changed, I don't know what the focus of our current director is, but, and I know he had a terrible winter, but I hope you don't start slashing away at that, because that is one of the things that I think turns people off when they come through a town and the roads, hopefully them haven't been repaired properly. And I would urge you not to start cutting away at that particular item.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, state your name for me, please.
Mike Armstrong, and Property Road, Columbia. I guess we're here to make a cut. Recommendations?
We're here to discuss and recommendations, sure.
Okay, so I got some really brilliant ideas. The highway garage, where you want to house their equipment, not needed. Believe it or not, construction equipment sign is left out in the left. That was what, $140,000. Okay. Fire truck, 2 million. Fire trucks all looking good, working order over there. I don't see if I need a new truck this year.
It's not one, we're not getting one this year. It's 5 years out.
Okay. Fine.
Excuse me?
You're putting out that 2 million this year.
No. We put aside an amount every year, so when we need the new fire truck, we can order it and pay for it. What's next?
just turn the firehouse lights off at night. Christmas is over. You know, I have to turn off my lights when I go to bed. I don't leave them on 24 hours a day. Sort of, you know, it's a little thing, but it's, I know Carmen just spoke to this, but on the other hand, patching potholes is way better than paving all the roads. We're so broke because of the 9 to 12 million that's going in over here for the AC unit. That's a lot, that's a big nut. We gotta get over that before we keep spending money on other grandiose ideas, you know. Yeah, so I do want to be here, but I feel like back in the day when Lowell Weicker implemented the state income tax and took my lunch money away, that air conditioning unit caught my attention and decided I got to start paying attention to what's going on in this town. The only reason I'm here, I really don't want to be here. You know, the spillway is leaking. We know why the spillway is leaking because LMAC for the last 10 years didn't operate the dam. They just let the water run over, kept the lake at +6. And I didn't realize what was actually going on, but I happened to be at the LMAC meeting when the former first select shipper came in and called them out on their crap. Because some people didn't build a big enough dock. So when the lake goes from 0 to -3, they don't have enough water at their dock for a boat. So they would keep me at +6 and flooding everybody out. And that spillway is designed for storm runoff, not constant runoff year round. And that's why it's eroding. So you just take whatever you're gonna spend on that and take it out of their budget. And the school air conditioning thing, I guess, is already gone. I hear we have extensive equipment down in the yard. I have done an inventory at the public works yard. Everything is just sitting there and isn't used more than once or twice a month, should be rented. You just call up United Rentals. I do it on a regular basis where I work. They show up within 24 hours or whatever you want. Call Sunbelt, a bunch of small other companies we can call. We don't need to keep huge overhead of $500,000 pieces of equipment down there because, oh, we need a huge loader to rake leaves on Sleepy Hollow. That's a little bit on the overkill side. But they have the loader down there sweeping the road. I don't know, just something to do, play with their voice. But I'm not bashing the town guys. Everybody does a good job, but overhead, you know, we're running realistically. This is a business. This isn't just a town. This is a business. Somebody's got to start doing inventory of our overhead, what we can get rid of, what we don't need 365 that we use 3 weeks out of the year. That sweeper thing, we don't need one of those.
We're not getting a sweeper, so I agree with you. We're not getting a sweeper.
No, but I mean, that's the start of it. You know, we don't need an excavator. We need a backhoe, it's cheap to have. We don't need an excavator. We don't need a bulldozer. All those things can be rented. We're not doing any big projects at the ball fields this year. So it's just sitting there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Mary Rifle, 34 County Road. I would just for the record invite Mike or anyone to join us at LMAC, and if he has a question respective to the spillway or respective to the desired water level, which are incorrect as he has the exchange.
Really?
Brand new dam policy, which was implemented 2 years ago or 3 years ago when we got 5 inches of rain, is the desired water level at the spillway is only to be at +4. The reason for a spillway is not just for stormwater. The reason for a spillway, as acknowledged by Robert Portman, our consultant, way back when, and Chip Sifrin, is for environmentally as much as we can to keep runoff going down the lake as best we can. The desired water level was always 2 inches to 4 inches. It's in the new dam control policy. I believe it's in the one that was established in 1990. Just for the record. Thank you.
I do remember we talked about that and I said 4 inches. Thank you.
I actually went around and measured every season
Thank you.
to say what's the worst case scenario, flooding. Flooding does not occur unless you get +6. The worst we've ever had is +9 when we had 5 inches of rain. So yes, we did.
Nobody online?
When Mother Nature gave us that.
Yeah, Barbara Wilson and Gina
Yeah,
Jarvis.
no, but they're not here to say anything yet? Excellent. Okay, new business. We need to change the referendum date from June 11th to June 9th. It's been put out there, but there was a question about it last night. I was informed from the registrar of voters that they have mandatory training on June 11th. And because Tuesday is always election day, they asked that we move it to June 9th. So we need a motion on that?
Yes.
It's already in play. A little late. I move that we change the referendum date to June 9th, 2026. All those in favor? Aye. Thank
It's
you.
now official.
Discussion on 5-packs budget modification. So they want $600,000 from the Board of Selectmen budget. I will tell you, I've been looking at it. There's a couple of ways to go, but I'd like to hear your thoughts before I lay anything out there. I don't want to offer too much. There's reasons why we can cut some things. And the desire of the board, whether they said it or not, they did say it because it was exact number. And some members of the board said it exactly, and some members of the audience cut the paving of the road. That would be a big, we could just do it one time. We come up with too many ideas and they all start clamoring on every single one of them. And all of a sudden we're not cutting 600,000, we're cutting $1 million. Yeah, I don't think we would have put it in the budget in the beginning if we didn't think there was a need for it. And you may not think it's a great need, but there was a need for it. So we wouldn't have put it forward. So let's talk about what's out there and what your thoughts are.
I think the obvious cut is the building, because that is something that.
So that's 140.
That's the cleanest one, I think, right off the bat. But I know that's in the plan that you kind of started to outline, with Mark, I mean, that's the obvious one, and the paving of the transfer station.
That's only 30,000. But I understand, they add up. But go ahead.
I'm agreeing with the things that are outlined here, which, because they don't have everything, so the storage building, the paving of the transfer station area, I think well, it's not ideal to wait. The DPW tractor can wait, which had been kind of discussed even when it came up the first time. And then just to kind of clarify, because I just need to try to explain this, the fire engine, we put money aside every year. It's about 200 that we were putting 200 something in there. 204 yearly. So that way when its life expectancy comes to an end, that money is sitting there. We don't have one of these moments where we're buying a $2 million product. And so putting that off and redistributing that 204 amongst the next few years is what we're looking at. So it's not that we're removing $2 million from what we budgeted. We didn't budget 2 million, we budgeted 204 that we're putting aside for it. So just so everybody kind of understands what that means, but I'm okay with pushing that out and redistributing it. So that gets us to what, 450.
So we need a little. What's the HVAC improvements? So we're getting.
You can't touch that.
How do you get 450? I missed something.
That is that first
Right
thing.
Yeah, I don't have it. Oh, transfer station. That was 30, 140, 204.
75 for the DPW
In
tractor.
that email I gave.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, the reason that we're getting is it says border ceiling tile replacement.
So that's all Porter stuff. You can't touch that. You can't touch the Board of Ed stuff.
Is that stuff in here or is that just the business stuff?
Here, pass this down. Nope,
So I have to play one late. Thank you.
nope, because I saved it for everybody. This is capital.
So the HVAC project,
I read it.
the HVAC project that you see in capital right now is what we're using, the money that was allocated from the general fund. And that we are using to pay for the project manager, SES, what are they called? SES,
It's the technical engineer to make sure everything,
technical engineer, who's
That's right.
almost like a project manager, not project manager, but oversees all the technicalities. And then there's the architect engineer.
I'm wondering, what comes out of the, we allocated so much money in a grant, so we're paying for.
That is in a separate fund. The grant and the short-term financing is in a total separate fund, isolated out so that we can't touch that money. We did get some of the money back, but that's helping to, it's only a portion of it, and that will help pay part of the short-term bans off. So we did get some reimbursement, 1.5 million.
So that we can't,
That's not even on that schedule at all. So anything that's below at the bottom for the Board of Ed, you can't.
but you have to project.
So you'll see on the page that I just gave out, we're under 26, 27 budget. It's underneath the word reserve fund. We're down there. That's what we're projected for this year. So if we cross off the 140 and you cross off 75. Right, reval, there's no touching that.
No.
Transfer station equipment and repairs, we talked about that, 30,000, right?
Yeah.
All right. Facilities, buildings, 35,000, what's that?
that's,
Library doors.
library doors, camera systems, upgrades.
Is it, are the doors, wasn't there something with the doors leaking or
To
something?
the back.
They're falling apart. They're delaminating.
$10,000 just for
They were
that.
made out of like particle board.
Could we put the cameras on hold? I don't know if the remainder is the cameras, it's 15,000 for that. I mean, it's not much, I'm just trying to chip away little by little here.
I think it was 20 for the cameras and
20, I'd
15 for
have
the
to
doors.
I'm all for security, but if we're chipping away little by little here.
We might be able to this year, just buy some of it this year.
Yeah. Steve, can you just, I know we had kind of had a side conversation about this where you were trying to explain this to me, but for the road resurfacing and the road repaving, we have grant money that's sitting somewhere. So like, if we don't do that project, we lose the grant money, which is actually, it would have come in as 0 for us, but.
No, I was in, okay, I asked for clarification today.
Okay.
There's some LoCIP money, there's some TAR money. We would lose a portion of it, not a tremendous amount. We would have to give back about, I want to be correct, $50,000.
It's not that we're gonna give back, it just means moving forward, we may not get it, or we're gonna get
They
less.
threaten towns that LoCIP has to be spent every
So
year,
use it or lose it.
or you
type of
don't
thing.
get it again
Doesn't
the
have
next
to-
year.
Before we get, then we.
It has to be a capital, a
An
fully.
appropriated capital project that you're using it against.
There is some restrictions on it, so, like we can use it on tree removal, but we're doing that this year. Because I wanted to make sure we spent some money, so it's gonna cover some of the
But
trees.
there's also, there's carryover money from
There's prior year carryover money, which could cover some. of the-
feeling that we didn't do this year.
Yes.
The Hawk River is 24,000.
We're supposed to get a status on that if we can close that.
They haven't closed out the project, so that's a portion that
We may be able
we
to.
may be able to get back. It's stuck in a capital account shared with Coventry.
Check it in again.
I mean,
So that will chip, that,
Yeah, we've been trying to get an answer on that one.
Facilities.
The truck in there. We got the facilities truck.
What's the facilities capital improvement building? Is that that's 32,000.
and then the hazardous tree removal and trimming, does that just roll over to this year then?
Yes, that's why we didn't fund it this year. We had enough in last year.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
facilities is
Yeah,
security camera.
I saw you look like you were gonna say something, but everybody was talking, didn't. Okay.
So really the two areas on here. Road resurfacing and the future projects are the, no, not the future projects.
You have the culverts,
The
We'd
fire
like-
department projects are the two biggest lines.
and the next one would be the box culverts, but we would like to get moving on that if possible.
And with box culverts, it's engineering two further box culverts, both Mock Road and, I forget the second.
Okay.
Edgerton or Layton Hill,
No,
Might,
is it Edgerton?
might be Egerton. The problem is, the engineering is first, then I go for grants with the engineering, because that designs the new culvert. And
Without the engineering, you can't apply for grants.
they're not gonna even consider you, because it shows you're not serious.
Right, we have them.
So we've gotten engineering grants. We've gotten grants for Pine and Thompson Hill. Next, I'm gonna try to get Doubleday. A big grant on Doubleday.
Please let me ask about this. It says here, 25-26 projected ending balance for road resurfacing is 433.
yes, because I haven't gotten response, I don't have an answer on how much is being spent this year, so that money is gonna carry forward if nothing else is done, but I believe she's gonna be doing some line painting, maybe some road repair this spring, so that number's gonna go down. I will say that with road resurfacing or even box culverts, if we need to reduce the culverts, probably just do with one versus two.
Right,
Or
Get
right,
it,
at least you get one of them.
whichever one is more priority, has, for shape, get it going. So,
I feel like that remaining balance is just kind of sitting there in projected balance moving forward if we don't know how much they're spending on the research. We don't know.
well, my question is, even if they spend half of it. And Erdoney Road is 610, but they want to do
but
Sadler at the
was
same time.
estimated at 250. So she was supposed to get back to us on if she can still do it or do something different that's lower in cost. But I know that they're looking at the road and the catch basins and all that, so that, whether she gets done now and we can put off a little bit next year. So it's a further discussion we have to have with Beth.
Steve. My question is she going to spend?
So there's some unknowns there.
Yeah, so
When can you get that information?
We'll try to get it by next week. So we don't have to act on all this until we know what the referendum results are. So we do have a little time. But I know residents, even the ones here, want to know what we're going. We can give here's some things we're looking at. I'm sure if everybody has a consensus on that we come up with a list. It may not be complete today, but we're going to keep working on it.
All right, so truthfully, we're just thinking about things. We have to not really declare anything until the referendum passes and it says you need to cut $600,000.
If the referendum doesn't pass, you're going to get more.
Yes.
Right, so
The 600,000, with their.
I don't think we can do that though without this. Yeah, because we're 150 shy, and that 150 is sitting in two places.
but my concern is we give a list of things that we would cut for future, okay?
We have a preliminary list.
So now you have two things we could cut, 449,000 in this column. And if they say you need 600, then you cut it off the road over here and keep this until somebody says, oh, you can cut everything. And then you got this.
Well, I think the 449 that we've come up with is a safe bet that we're going to have to cut those regardless.
Right.
I think that 150 is gonna be something that after the referendum, after we have more information on what road resurfacing is actually costing this year, we can say, we're anticipating there's going to be a surplus in these two areas, right? Upriver and road
That was
resurfacing.
25, but still.
So, but I mean, it's only like 150 shy right now of
Well,
600, so it adds up quickly.
One culvert's 130
Yeah.
for engineering.
Yeah,
And what's the other one, 40?
No, it's two. Wasn't it, 131?
173.
So I do think it
No,
comes
that's
down
Oh,
to,
I'm sorry, 267, because you have a balance.
Yeah.
I'm just figuring that out.
Correct.
Okay.
to identify the culvert projects, they're a need, right? But we have to cut the money somewhere. I would say going into this with the understanding that it looks like there may be a surplus, we can have that discussion with DPW. That's first, in my brain, that's the first thing, like if we have a surplus, then that's our remaining 150, right? But knowing that it's going to end up being a vital project, like a culvert project, it's going to be that remaining, there's literally nowhere else.
But it's a surplus, not for a rainy day fund. It's a surplus that's designated that we came in a little bit under what it would cost, knowing there was going to be a surplus to make up the difference. So it's not like a surplus we can use for anything.
Mhm.
So
But it would come off of what we budgeted for this year then, right? Because
Right.
we have 567, you would be reducing the amount for road resurfacing because you have a surplus from the previous year.
no,
Well,
we're appropriating for 567 and adding the surplus, which would get us to cover Erdoney Road and Sadlam, which is about 850, 860 total.
so we're asking for 567.
But we weren't, we,
Good confidence.
But she may be using some of that surplus. It's not surplus until July 1st. It's not surplus.
I
So,
just,
but some of this money that you're showing for the road resurfacing is being paid by tar funds
okay.
and loss of money, so it's actually lower. So that's, and Mark's gonna copy the,
So we don't know what those chart funds are
it's over $200,000.
Okay.
We can carry some of it forward, but we should be showing some of it being used, and I'm looking at to see if there's other things we can use the money for, if we're not gonna be doing road resurfacing and stuff, so. I mean, it does do repairs, but there could be other,
200 of the 433 in there, or 200 of the 567 projection.
yeah, he's,
Sorry.
So the,
because at the time,
so the 200 isn't there, it's 433 we're asking plus, and then, or,
this is the total of the project.
so we would get 200 already. Okay.
So the 567 is net of the it's net of the,
Yeah, there's
Right now-
367 that we're budgeting for March.
there's $373,000 that when the budget was being processed that I was looking at that we're gonna have because
That 433.
of the, what, I don't know where we got.
I think the 373 was what we hadn't, of this 433 we have in the budget right now, I think you were carrying forward 373.
The 433 includes the 373 that's in the carry forward.
Right,
Because the balance of the 50,000 was going to be used for crack sealing, line painting,
right.
drainage work for this spring. It's her normal maintenance of the thing, so we wanted to make sure that's available, but I also have to show the carry forward. So 373 is going towards, and what was picked was Erdoney Road for 610 and the milling and paving of Sadlam Road, so the total of that is $860,000. When you take out the carry forward that I'm projecting, it's $487,000. Then she added another 80 for the line maintenance, guardrails, crack sealing, all that, to get the 567. From that amount, we were going to apply $339,000 in tar money because we actually are getting more. I thought it was 200, but I forgot they added more. Sorry about that. Plus, there was extra this year that we did not anticipate, so I'm carrying it forward so we can pay for the paving of the road. Plus, we had some LoSiP money we're going to apply, so that brings the total net capital down to $172,000. So when you look at it this way, you could just say, okay, take out the 172 and remove Savine Road and maybe some of the town maintenance, or since we're not gonna use, we took out the DPW building, there's additional LoSiP money that we can apply to the road that makes your road resurfacing down to 130, only $30,000 for next year. Everything else would be paid for,
Okay,
so
so from that 567, what can we bring it down to?
That's from the 171, what can we bring?
right down to,
Well,
so if you take, if you add more LoSiP of the 140 that was, we're gonna use towards the shed, that's available, that would bring your road resurfacing
Cost down to $31,000.
$31,000.
Okay, so that's that's the 150, 140 of the 150.
no,
No.
because LoSiP, you,
We showed LoSiP on, when we were proposing a $140,000 building. On that sheet, it showed minus 440,000 because we were gonna apply LoSiP
we're
funds.
gonna use LoSiP funds to build the building.
We have additional LoSiP funds that we need to spend. So if we're not gonna use it on the building,
You can apply it for this.
Yeah.
But such a thing, that 171 you said goes down to about 30.
yes, so then there's 30,000 left, which you could probably take it out. I think Beth was comfortable with that. Just means some of the maintenance stuff she may not do. But it depends on how much gets done this year with the carry forwards and all that, that we might be able to squeak it through. If she runs out of capital funds, then she'd have to use some of her operating money if she has any. So, I mean, there's ways you can do it, so. I mean, if you want, then we can just wipe it down, make it down to zero. And apply the,
How does that come off how does that go toward the 600?
That's the problem.
it would be $32,000
Toward the 600 that they want saved?
that they want us to reduce, yeah.
So that's how I was calculating it on man now.
So it's 449 plus the 30,000, right?
That would get you down to about 118,
120.
a little under.
Right, I think that's fine, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just rounding now. Easier.
And how much is that? Sorry, 30,
32?
30.
32. So,
119,000.
Right. So before we throw all this and make the puzzle and make it all fit and everything, so if we believe we have to find another $118,000,
I would recommend that we go back to the departments and see what they can reduce and look at other lines before we make further decisions.
I've already asked the library to revisit their budget. Land use just came up with $750. They had some postage they're not gonna need.
Do we remember how much, because I don't have that budget in front of me, for the library, there was a digital program that they were looking at incorporating, that was their largest.
They were gonna fund that. I think
It was the
I
health
think they're gonna
insurance.
fund that.
they were gonna fund the digital program and then.
yeah, but it's still, but when you say they're gonna fund it, the bottom line is it still comes over the top line.
Right.
If they don't fund that, then they can use the money that they were gonna fund that and put it toward their insurance or whatever.
No, well, that'd be their decision anyway.
Right.
So do you know when they're gonna get back? I
Well,
know
we'll
it's
check
been-
with them on Monday,
I just asked them
today, or
yesterday
yesterday.
at the public hearing.
Similar to what Steve was saying, we know what they could cut to reduce the library budget. And again, I don't want to reduce it. It's
Well, they asked for a number. I said I didn't have a number
Yeah.
yet.
So.
Tell them 118, see what, throw it out there, right? But honestly, we're asking, and then there's gonna come a time where we're gonna have to tell,
Yeah.
okay?
they have
So
something.
I think
So we're down to 118,000.
Which is, right now, it's a pretty good effort right now, so it's just giving us more time, because it's kind of hard to like, okay, you got it, okay, no, I didn't feel like staying up all night, so
Well, we haven't had a lot of time to
absorb it, yeah.
to kind of get this information.
Yeah,
Because of our charter, it's everything's going, but, have you asked, have you read all the departments to kind of lower it by a certain?
well, we have to get back to, we'll do that on Monday, because it was just like, all right, let's go through we met, and this is what we got through with this, and we talked to Beth, and then, we certainly do not want to stop doing roads, because
Well, and that's one of the things people were vocal about last night, is the concern about the roads, and it came again, obviously, here today, so.
Oh, you heard both sides. And we heard both sides last night.
Who said potholes are good? It slows everybody down.
Yeah, how's that possible?
True. Don't have to speed bumps, or even potholes.
That's it.
Yeah, sure, Ms. Vance.
Have you given any consideration to, doing away with the state policeman?
Yes,
That is a lot of money unless it's changed drastically.
It's a
it's
multiple.
about $135,000.
And they were very seldom in town. They were off solving problems in other towns. Just as if we had a problem, we would call the state police and they would send somebody to take care of it.
It's a multi-year contract. You have to give a year's notice.
We have talked about it. It was brought up a couple of years ago. And since then, we've changed state troopers once or twice. And I have seen immeasurable improvement of their job performance, his responsiveness. I will tell you, last thing to go right now. I think the state trooper does a tremendous job. I also think we have a better tie to Troop K because of his standing
Yep.
in our community and with Troop K. We get more patrols through here, and based on the meeting we had 2 weeks ago, he brought in some experts, traffic experts and stuff. He's going to be working with other traffic authorities and troopers around here to try and put some speed deterrences together. So we've talked about it. I brought it up a couple of years ago. And I think that's when I will tell you, a little frustrated with our state police program. We had a meeting with the troop and I got frustrated there. But since Trooper Allen has come on board, he is more in line with the town and our philosophy. And he carries that over to the troop on our behalf, so.
They have a new lieutenant he's trying to bring back the way the program was designed.
Right.
So hesitant just to cut from anything for public safety as much as possible. Like police and fire, yeah.
He's, Carmen, I do think he's more responsive than some, this gentleman. He
So,
makes a good impression with me.
appreciate your comments. Okay, so I'm just gonna say, we can go through this 100 times. We won't find it, we will find it, we won't find it, we will find it. The bottom line is I want to hear what the referendum results are and what 5-pack actually tells us we need to do, because we have some options. We have some better options than terrible options, but we do have options. And I think it's going to take a collective, when we find out what our portion of this cut is going to be. I'd rather not lay out, like I said, options of way too much. I'd rather come up with what we need to when they tell us what our number is.
Didn't they tell us we had to cut?
Well, the referendum will tell us. If it fails, it'll go back to 5-pack and they may say cut more.
Oh, I thought 5-pack had something.
A 5-pack said 600,000.
For this
So
referendum.
the number 600,000. So when the referendum gets voted on, that's what we're waiting for the results of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we'll leave it up to
but it's
them.
not gonna go up there, it's only gonna go down there.
Yeah, it'd be left up to them if they want to keep it the same after the next referendum or they want us to reduce more.
There are, I hate to say this on camera and everything else. As bleak as it looks, there are things that could happen that could help us in the long run. Okay, grants, there are grants out there. That's why we need the engineering for the culverts and Doubleday Road. We're almost finalized with that, so we can, well, there's availability of grants to cover a majority of some of these things. There is, if the town decides to follow along like other towns and the state, as I was watching it this morning on where the speed cameras are, that if they decide to go with those, the money goes to road reconstruction, road repair, culvert repair. So our expenditure out of our pockets becomes less if we decide to go that route. We have solar implications on a lot of areas that would help make Columbia 100% covered by solar. Possibly. I know we have some already that we've put the plan in for approval and stuff. So there are things that are happening. We need to look at the referendum and see what it says, and then we'll go, when we finally pass it, what the final number is from FIPAC. Our directive will be this, and we'll do this. Because if we don't, then FIPAC makes a move, right?
Yeah.
And
You should be, so you get that, so I would say ask each department to cut by 2 or 3%, whatever,
Before we get there, let me just summarize what I have. So I have cut the building at 140, the transportation at 30,000, the fire department capital put away at 204,000, the tractor for rec park at 75,000. That gets us to 449,000. And then if we get rid of the engineering on one culvert at 130, that brings us to 579,000.
Plus the $750 in postage.
Yes, 750 in postage from the land use department.
I thank you for the humor, because I was going to, but I'm always the wise guy. Do not want to do it this time.
Building department reduced their postage by $750.
No, we will go to every department and say this, this, and this.
And that might
Honestly, maybe it's the 25,000 that we need out of everybody chips in a little bit, okay? So,
Mary, if you could have LMAC look at your budget.
Almec is prepared to make the necessary cuts up to.
we understand.
Okay, thank
If
you.
you need it.
Up to 10. Okay,
We
so,
would carry some things over.
so possible 10,000 from LMAC.
And remember, we have a new consultant and we got a better deal.
Good, thank you. So we're getting there.
All right. Anything else on that? You understand what our game plan is? Okay, thank you. The exit poll questionnaire for budget referendum for June 9th. The last questionnaire,
I don't think it helped much.
well, the only one that helped me was this one that said, please serve drinks while you're doing it. But,
It basically said across the board, everything's too high. And
pretty much,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I think having the exit poll this time, now that they
So-
have reached it from both, I think it would be valuable to know, okay, it's getting voted down again, where does that really need to come from?
well, is it instead of do you leave it open-ended to just put your comments on a piece of paper?
Well, they had, on the last one, it's, or then,
Too high, too low?
Now, what we're saying is now we're cutting specific things. So the question is, where should we cut?
leave a comment section on
Just a
it.
comment.
Can you do that? Can you leave a comment section on a ballot?
No, it wouldn't be
No,
enough. It's an exit
It's the
poll.
exit poll.
Do whatever we want on an exit poll.
People might say, don't pave a road. People would say, drain the lake.
Make comment.
Maybe.
Only kayaks can go on the lake right now.
In the puddle.
Now, the
Middle.
one.
So, you know what, if we could put together like meaningful questions or,
Well, do you want leading questions or you just want to leave a comment? Just, what are your thoughts?
I mean, people are allowed to give some of the comments. Okay, some of them weren't very nice. But
You could alleviate.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's, appropriate.
Alleviate some of the public comment at the next go around too.
I think it helps give people a little bit more power, comments, I think, gives. Important to do that.
Have you read them?
I read some of them, I didn't.
I'm just wondering if it's appropriate to document all of them, the ones that were vicious. I don't think that's appropriate. I think you should just say, if it's not a serious comment, we're not going to publish it. Maybe that's the claim at the top.
It's working out, okay? All right.
I'm just giving our cell phone number to call.
Texts only.
I have a list of, yeah. Yes,
Text the town administrator. He's on speed dial.
not only that, he's very busy, so text after 11 PM. Okay, we'll think about it. We'll probably get something out. We'll talk to the register. Isn't the registrars who did that?
Yes, we had somebody there.
Yes, they manned the.
Who came up with the questions? The registrars.
We didn't.
No, they gave us
Who
their,
brought it to us?
they brought us their thoughts, and so did 5-pack, and then we voted on it.
But you want the same questions. I think that's. the-
I think more open-ended at this point because you could even have, do you think the Board of Ed budget should be cut? Do you think the Board of Selectmen budget should be cut? And then where do you think it should come from under each? Or something. Yeah,
More direct.
yeah.
Just instead of telling them what the budget
You
is.
could do the yes, no for the two different boards, and that's perfectly fine, but you need to leave a section where they can clarify, like, what are your recommendations?
Yeah, then you get a
Okay,
All
all right.
Is it true that they can't raise it?
the stamps.
Can't raise it.
Yes, it is true. They can't raise it. Moving on, approval to waive the bid process to get a vendor for the filtration system for the PFA water issues. Well, this is, once again, the communication, but it came up last night. So we actually have been very involved finding a purification water company to provide purification. So PFAS is captured under, I believe, a carbon or charcoal. Carbon filters. We'd like to get moving on it. There's a very, very reliable company. I don't know why are we, is it a time thing to waive the bid or is it?
Reluctant to waive bids.
So
Hold on.
can I speak to that? Since I've been working with the school closely. Mike Smith says as soon as he got the test results and, I worked with him closely to get things moving on this. He came up with, fortunately, he helped design what's going into that school, working with the state, and he found this one company, Aquapump, and they, worked with them to finalize and get it to the state, and it has been approved. The whole system approved pretty quickly. The state has, in so many words, told us that more and more towns and school districts are testing positive in the area. We are working to get more information out to the town on this. With that being said, that means more companies are coming in, are being asked to help with these filtration systems, which mean we could, just like the HVAC, prices are gonna start going up. We're gonna have limited vendors being available. We're still at the beginning, early, and Aquapump said they are willing to work with us and give us a quote and all that stuff. So maybe we can get it done sooner instead of waiting and delaying and, and the price goes up. I think initial quote now is $40,000, possibly for all the facilities that need it. So, but that's without him coming in the door. So, plus we also need a certified water operator. Mike Sylvester is not that. So it might save money to have him do all the facilities, including the school and us, that we might be, if we have one contract, that might be better also. Well, but we still have to check in with him with that. But they're more than willing to come here. Pete Donick has already spoken to them. So, right now they're willing to just take a purchase order to reserve us. So it's either we put out the bid on this or we can waive it and get going on this sooner and get the system in here.
Because it'll take a while to go.
Well, we don't have a bid spec either yet.
Yeah, we'd have to bid specs and all
I
that.
mean, this doesn't seem like a lot to do all that.
I moved to waive the bid process, to get a vendor for the filtering systems for PFAs.
Yeah.
A second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. I know Scott.
Oh, good, because I don't feel like ordering another water tanker.
Can, life events be certified to be a water?
I think there's,
Water terminal?
I forgot what he has. He does have, he's not fully certified, but he's like the next level down. And apparently it's a lot of time, it takes a long time to get it.
He'll be tired before that.
Yeah, probably, yeah,
So we have to get somebody. who can-
Yeah. like he can.
No,
company does it.
Aquapump has certified,
It's
you're hiring them to
take care of the whole system.
be in charge of the system.
So, and then you'll have a company that's reputable, they'll be there to do any maintenance on it and all that kind of stuff. So, to me, it's like, he already did most of the work for us and Board of Ed said, okay, let's just go with it. So, especially because they, in order for them to stay open, we had to get moving on this one. Yeah, that's what's going on. It's on the.
Okay, so we're done with your audience of citizens, anybody? Seeing none, yes, state your name.
Jeff Rose, Lakewood Lane. With the PFAS system and all that, we talked about, we have the HVAC system. No one knows what maintenance is going to cost. Yearly maintenance. It comes down to gallonage now with these carbon filters. Does the person have any idea for gallonage of what it will cost monthly, yearly to the town now? Because it plays into the budget, just like it'll play into the budget at the school. These are things that aren't gonna go away, just another nail in the coffin that we have to absorb. And also as chief of the fire department, we are looking at how to efficiently put in the filter system because we wash those trucks, which there's 9 of them, keep them clean so we can push them out and not have to buy them as quickly as other departments do. But we also bathe in that water when we come back and we're dirty from a call, cook with it. So we're looking at 2 styles of pumps. One, which would be for us to drink at, and we can separate it to get it to the other side. And one that we can just pull off the PFAS and the filters a little differently for use of washing the trucks or putting 150 gallons out of the pump into the truck because we don't want to run down to Willimantic to fill up at 2 o'clock in the morning. That system's not going to happen. And I'd also like to be known for the record that the department's capital was totally cut this year of 324,000, and what was remaining was 204. So we actually gave the town back our whole capital this year. So that 300 and something will be booked in at the other end, which I've had great conversations with the first selectman and the financial director and the town manager. So I wholeheartedly believe we can fix this at the end, but the department did get its whole capital back. And that is due to the long planned purchase of all these trucks. So listening to that meeting last night, people said the fire department's PFAS. The fire department's not PFAS. You had 2 gas stations in the center of this town. One had a major leak of fuel, and that was Collins Garage. The other tank that was in this town was where the post office was. That was fuels that were in these grounds for years. So just making it known that people shouldn't be pointing the fingers at the fire department because one fire, they use some foam and PFAS hit the market that the fire department's causing. Thank you.
Any other audience or citizen? Board of Selectmen comments?
I think we work very well together. Figure out how to-
I have a comment. I heard something last night. I just want to clarify. The good faith of both the town operating and the school budgets, when they, at the end of the year, if there's any money left over, it's given back to the general fund. So I'd hate to see that. I heard last night, well, the school should just keep it. I've seen 5-pack members who argued 3 years ago or 2 years ago how they wanted to cut the Board of Selectmen an additional 300,000 because they had given back 300, so obviously they asked for too much. That's not the case, and I fought and said, do not cut them another $300,000 because it is a little bit of buffer for student or students to move in who have needs, or maybe classrooms. It's a buffer. It is a good program at the end of the year where the Board of Ed gives back any surplus and the town gives back any surplus to the general fund. I knew this good faith and trust that the community had was going to be damaged one day. And I think that if we continue along those lines of we should keep it and do this, it's going to be over. And with a very stern 5-pack, they'll say, you better have your budget to the dollar, because if that's
Just the seeking of grants, because I know when I have been on the Board of Ed and even here, if you're told you need to have it to the dollar, what would be the motivation to seek a mid-year grant to cover the cost? Because that's a lot of times where that surplus is.
well, because if you got that grant, then you would keep the surplus and stuff. When I just think,
Or you'd be spending things.
I'd hate to see that goodwill and trust go away. I mean, I don't want 5-pack to nitpick them down to the dollar, and it's everybody, like somebody said last night, we really have to think hard about this, both 5-pack, the Board of Ed, and Board of Selectmen. It's one town, for God's sakes, it's one town. It's just money out of everybody's pocket. We need to work together, so.
So, I mean, I feel that the Board of Ed, I trust their judgment in creating their budget. Sometimes they, maybe when they're planning the budget, they have special ed kids that cost $200,000. And then that person leaves, so there's money left over. And yes, they do give it back to the town. It's kind of been a gentleman's agreement for many years. And I mean, I agree, we're at each other's throats, and it's not necessary. Everybody's doing the best they can, and using judgments, and maybe we can do it differently. We got to communicate that.
Okay.
I have one thing to add before you close out.
Oh, yeah.
Is everyone available? We would normally have our regular board select meeting at 7 on Tuesday, but now we're having a town meeting. Is everybody available for a 6 o'clock board selectmen meeting on Tuesday, June 2nd?
I'm going to be in Newport and try to get on Zoom.
Okay.
I can be here.
You said yes, Bill?
I'll be available.
And
I'll be
yes,
here, yeah.
and hopefully Rob will be. And you're okay.
6.
And start thinking, we need another person on the HVAC building committee. If anyone has any ideas, that's one topic we'll be talking about, because we're down to 3 voting members. So it's not, we almost couldn't have a meeting this Monday night. Alan, right, and then Guy, this guy's last name. Both, right, both Alan and Guy sold their HVAC businesses, very knowledgeable. And then we have Dave, right?
Hi, sir.
who- Thank you, Barbara. He's an engineer and very knowledgeable. And then with Mike Sylvester, we have a lot of knowledge. I'm representing you on the Board of Selectmen, but in our charge, I have to be an elector to have a vote. So we need another elector. So that's just for thoughts, right?
Come on, it's fun.
There are bylaws for the town.
Yep.
Does that cover the school also?
It's just not in the school of the charter. I think so.
The reason I ask that is probably prejudice of mine. We have at least one, I've been told more, but at least one person. He is chair, and I don't know, he's probably very nice. He's chair of the school. He's also been administrators in school outside of their town. And you never think that he doesn't come to that position to certain prejudice, or certain wants, or certain needs. And that should not be able to happen any more than you would want select here who was running the water company that you're talking about.
So can I kind of speak to that a little bit? As someone who has my admin cert and sat on the board of ed, our school is separate, our district is separate from the district that individual works for. So there's nothing in it for him in the decisions that he would be making in that role. About half of the board, at least as of last year, half of the board serve in education positions in different districts. You cannot work in our district at that point. I could see if there was a conflict of interest here, if one of us worked for the water company, we would have to recuse ourselves from the vote on that topic anyway. So if it was something that impacted them, but that comes down to, I mean, one, we don't oversee that board anyway, but that would come down to who you're voting for to put in those offices. So if you see it as a conflict, that just has to be part of your decision-making process. There's nothing in our charter that, and really he and like the other members of the board that also serve in education, the educational capacity in other districts, they have the right to be active in the town.
Thank you. I'm sorry, we had audience of citizens and we chose not to, so. So if that's it, at this time, move to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Mail is